Today's episode will be talking about the fall of Rome, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and the Age of Enlightenment. In the 8th and 6th centuries, there were a mix of Greece and Roman culture called the Greco-Roman civilization. This Greco-Roman civilization is also known as the Classical Era. During this era, the people promote human flourishing, which includes capability in arts, philosophy, mathematics, and engineering. The Greco-Roman civilization continued until the rise of the Western Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire is seated in what is now called the city of Milan. The Western Roman Empire are Latin-speaking civilization. The Great Western Roman Empire, however, came into its end, which is known as the Fall of Rome. The fall of Rome is attributed to several factors like economic collapse, rise of the Eastern Empire, corruption, invasion of the Huns, rise of the Christians, and weakening of the legion. The constant wars led to overspending of the empire. The overspending is compensated by overtaxation. To avoid paying heavy taxes, the wealthier Romans flee to the countryside. With fewer slaves from battles, this led to lesser production of commercial and products produced to run the economy. In 330 ACE, the Roman Emperor Constantinople expanded the Roman Empire in the Eastern Province. The Eastern Empire is later called the Byzantine Empire, which is Greek-speaking. The Byzantine became powerful that their enemies cannot attack them, but instead the attack is diverted to the Western Roman Empire. The corruption of the Western Roman leaders and inconsistent policies only magnify the existing problems. Next is the invasion of the Huns. The Huns are a mix of East Asians and West Eurasian origins. The Huns drove the Visigoths, these are the early Germanic tribe, into the borders of the Western Roman Empire. The children of the Goths were made into slaves by the Romans in exchange of food, practically dog meat. The oppression of the Romans to the Goths rose into a revolt within the Roman borders. The decline of the power of the Western Empire is the spread of Christianity. The Catholic became the state religion in 390 ACE. The Catholicism eroded or hampered the Roman traditions and value system, including the divine status of the emperor. The church leaders also influenced the military, economic, and administrative affairs of the state. As the Roman state is unable to recruit soldiers from its citizenry, the emperors had no choice but to hire the barbarians called the Goths in place of their soldiers. The barbarians, however, have little to no loyalty to the empire. Instead, the Goths brought down the Western Empire while serving to their legions. The fall of Rome causes the central government to collapse. Europe is left with no leaders to govern. With no central government, chaos spreads over. The chaos, the disorder, are officially coined as the Dark Ages. This is also called the Middle Age, between the 5th and 14th centuries. The term Dark Ages was coined by the Italian Francesco Petrarca. Petrarca describes this period as absence of scientific and cultural advancements. Those noble and wealthy families became landlords. A landlord governs tenants and sometimes have an army of their own. The landlords provide the land and protection for its people, and the people provide their service and loyalty. This type of social and political system is called feudalism. Some feudal lords later became kings, and their land is their kingdom. The kings live in castles. Castles are buildings during the medieval period designed to withstand against attacks with thick walls, battlements, and towers. Landlord Clovis became a king and united the tribe of the Roman province of Gaul called the Franks. Charlemagne is crowned Holy Roman Emperor and hailed as the father of the French and Germanic monarchies. Richard the Lionheart became the King of England. The medieval period is also the time when Catholic monasteries were built. Monks working in monasteries are called clergy. Clerks who do clerical works is derived from this word. The medieval period is also the time of the famous Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is a patron saint of France. She is honored as the defender of the French nation during the 100 Years of War. The online game series Defense of the Ancients, or Dota, is a plot setting during the medieval period. Also, during this period, a Venetian merchant named Marco Polo made literary works in his adventure travel to Asia, journeying the Silk Road. The Silk Road is an ancient trade route that linked Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Marco Polo's literary diary sparks the interest of many explorers and traders. The diary of Marco Polo causes many merchants to travel this route, bringing different products, including pests such as fleas and rats that carries the Yersinia pestes, which causes the bubonic plague. The disease, bubonic plague, already hit China, India, Persia, Syria, and Egypt. The plague arrived in Europe in 1347. An infection brought by the plague attacks the lymphatic system, causing swelling of the lymph nodes. The swell appears as boils or black boils. The person's body gangrenes, hence the name Black Death. When a healthy person just touches an infected person or even its clothing, can kill that person overnight. The rhyme Ring Around the Rosie was written about the symptoms of the Black Death. The Black Death killed around 30 to 60% of the Europeans at that time. The spread of the plague was controlled by implementing isolation of incoming and returning traders within 40 days, called cuarenta, the term quarantine. In the late Middle Age, a German inventor named Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press. The printing press can duplicate enormous book copies. Since then, the availability of book prints can now be easily accessed by many people. Through the books, the people now rediscovers and reviving the Greco-Roman classics. The rebirth of the Greco-Roman classics, like the arts, philosophy, mathematics, and engineering, is known in French as Renaissance. The Renaissance started in the 14th century and lasted until the 17th century. The Renaissance includes the cultural movement called Humanism. Humanism is an idea that man is the center of his universe and people should embrace human achievements like education, arts, literature, and scientific discoveries. A man who is knowledgeable in both science, mathematics, and humanism is called a Renaissance man. The Renaissance man is conceptualized by Leon Battista Alberti. One family that supports the Renaissance movement is the Medici family. The Medici family are the former merchants in the late Middle Age that expanded their fortune into banking. The wealth of the Medici, however, is also used to support artists and scientists in their work so that they will no longer think of their livelihood but to concentrate in their masterpieces and works. Leonardo da Vinci, 1452 until 1519. He is a painter, an architect, an inventor. Da Vinci is considered as an ideal Renaissance man. His famous works are the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. René Descartes, 1596 to 1650, French philosopher and mathematician, regarded as the father of modern philosophy. Galileo Galilei, 1564 to 1642, tutored a member of the Medici family, an Italian astronomer, physicist, and engineer. He is famous for his work in astronomy with his telescope. His discoveries of the cosmos conflicts with the teaching of the Church. Because of this, his work was labeled heresy by the Catholic Church, which is punishable by imprisonment or death. Nicolaus Copernicus, 1473 to 1543, a mathematician and astronomer. He proposed that the Sun is the center of the solar system and that the planets circle around the Sun. William Shakespeare, 1564 to 1616, England's national poet and the most famous playwright of all time, celebrated for his sonnets and plays like Romeo and Juliet. Donatello, 1386 to 1466, an Italian sculptor. Donatello sculpted David that was commissioned by the Medici family. Michelangelo, 1475 to 1564, an Italian sculptor, painter, and architect who painted the Sistine Chapel in Rome. The idea of humanism is to examine and critique the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. One of the critics of the Church is Martin Luther. He is driven by his idea of church reformation. Luther's church reformation later became known as Protestantism. Because of humanism, the Catholic Church censored artists and writers and those linked to Protestant Reformation. Therefore, artworks and relevant activities also declined. In the 15th century, Europe's battling with invaders causes disruption and instability of the Renaissance society. The war also causes economic instability, which led to the decline of persons buying arts. Both censorship and economic instability seized the Renaissance movement. In the 18th century, there are thinkers who questioned traditional authority, including church and politics, to explain the natural phenomena. This thinking is called the scientific methods and reasons. This way of thinking is referred to as the Age of Reason. The Age of Reason is also known as the Enlightenment. The period of the Enlightenment produces books, essays, inventions, scientific discoveries, laws, and brought political revolutions. In America, the Patriots wanted to be free from the rule of the Great Britain, making America the land of the free, including freeing of the slaves. This revolutionary idea became the American Revolution in 1765 to 1791 between the Patriots and the Loyalists. The Loyalists are the colonists who remained loyal to the Great Britain. When the Patriots won, the Declaration of Independence was signed and the United States was created. Shortly after the American Revolution, in France, the people wanted to abolish the system of feudalism. The people also pushed the movement of respect of human rights. This movement led to what is known as the French Revolution between 1787 and 1799. The Enlightenment gave way to the 19th century Romanticism. The 19th century Romanticism is an intellectual orientation of many works of literature, painting, music, architecture, criticism, and historiography about the Western civilization brought by the Enlightenment movement. Here are some of the Enlightenment thinkers. Thomas Hobbes, he believes that the government is necessary not because man is naturally bad, but because man is by nature individualistic than social. John Locke believes that all mankind is born equal and independent, that no one has the right to harm another's life, health, liberty, or possession. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau believes that a man is naturally good, but his innocence can be corrupted by the society. Baron de Montesquieu. He believes that all men are born equal, and the law has to protect it. Voltaire. Think for yourself and let others enjoy the privilege of doing so. Adam Smith. No society can surely flourish and be happy if majority of the members are poor and miserable. Thomas Jefferson. A true patriot will defend his country even from its government. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next episode.